One more thing. Klay Thompson has had a really good effect on the Mavs offense so far. We'll tell you why in today's One More Thing.
I'm here because I have to be.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
That's it. It's me versus the machine. Don't let his whiteness take away from his quickness.
You can rest later. You're young.
I'm here in color here.
Wait. One more thing.
Yeah, welcome. You're still locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Joining me, as always, my co-host, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I'm ready to talk some Klay Thompson. It's so good to watch Klay just drain threes in Dallas. Like, we watched him for so long shoot all these crazy threes in Golden State, and it's just like it just still hasn't like fully sunk in. Like, dude, he's shooting those for the Mavs now.
It is weird. It's weird to see him warm up. It's weird to see kids like get excited about seeing him warm up before games and try to like get him to like sign stuff. It's like another star has been added to the Mavericks. Even though he may not consider, but like an off the court star for sure. And we got to talk about Klay Thompson today. We got one more thing. We talked about a bunch of stats today on the show. Let's get into some Klay Thompson stats. Klay Thompson, follow me. Klay Thompson's effect on the offense. When Klay Thompson is on the court this season, the Mavs offensive rating is 120.7. That's very good. We'll take that.
Pretty good.
That's almost elite. Like very, very, very good. When Klay Thompson is on the floor, Mavs offense is very good. When Klay Thompson is off the floor, the Mavs offensive rating drops by 7 points. 113.7. That's like average, close to average, below average. And yes, he is basically tied to Luka and Luka's minutes, right? So, Klay and Luka have played 742 possessions together. Klay has played 134 possessions without Luka. So he is basically tied to Luka. So you could say that, this
stat, Nick.
You could say this number is just Klay Thompson with Luka equals good offense, which is great. We'll take that, right? You'll take that. But Klay with Luka on the court, their offensive rating is 120.5. Klay without Luka on the court, offense 121.6. So it's about the same. So it's not just Klay playing with Luka. Klay has had a really good effect on this offense so far, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of spacing stuff, and honestly, I don't think they take advantage enough of the spacing. We talk. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here with the whole like touch the paint, like get into the paint, like please.
I don't think we're allowed to use that.
Is that the right phrase?
Yeah, but it just makes me think of like Champ. Like if Champ was listening to this show, do you think that he I feel like
that's true. I don't want Champ to go anywhere because that means Mavs man is just fully
No. Mavs man is part of the Raccoon Squad. Did you know this?
Yeah, you told me this, but
yeah,
I mean, does that make you less afraid of him?
Yeah, I am now. He's one of us. He's one of us.
At all.
No.
What if like Michael Myers was one of us? What if Charles Manson was one of us? What if he like
if I was a basketball, I would be concerned because he's definitely murdered some basketballs to make his skin.
Okay. Protect Champ at all costs. So I'll use a
Don't beat a dead horse. Keep the horse alive.
I don't know what the analogy is. Leave that as a comment. What analogy can I use in place of that? You got to touch the paint, get into the paint. And I don't feel like they're like utilizing that space that he brings as much as what they could. But yeah, I mean, just having him out there and the quick release, yes, are some of the shots he takes sometimes a little forced? Sure. But I honestly don't even care. I'm like, I don't care.
You kind of want it.
I know. It's like just having another option out there with like, it's just so weird, especially in the fourth quarters of like seeing like Kyrie and Klay both like hit these shots. And I'm like, we walked through the desert so long watching just Luka have to take these shots, or Luka kicking it out to them trying to make Dwight Powell stretch five, or, Dorian Finney-Smith still working on the outside shot. And
no, he's shooting well now.
I know, but it's just like there's a difference now of having Klay or Kyrie. So yeah, Klay has had an incredible impact on the offense.
And it kind of doesn't matter if he's hitting his threes or not, right? Because whether he goes 1 of 9 or if he goes 5 of 9, I mean, they're still gonna, that you can't leave him open, right? Like that's the whole thing with Klay.
Still can't leave me open.
And that's we knew that this is what they were trading out, right? Like you trade Derrick Jones
Yeah.
Jr. out for Klay Thompson, your offense better go up. I mean, this is what you're going for. So, it's the defense that's always been the thing of like, all right, how are they going to look defensively? But it was after the finals, Nico Harrison wasn't talking a ton about defense. Nico Harrison was saying, hey, we were a shooter away. Like, we need to shoot, whether you agree with that or not. And they got one of the best shooters of all time in Klay Thompson. So they're doing exactly what they want to do as far as like game plan wise.
Yeah, and you think about some of the one-on-one possessions that like PJ Washington has had posting up, or Dereck Lively at the rim, and it's just one-on-one. They can't send help. You can't send help off of Klay, Luka, or Kyrie. Like defenses have to make choices, and so it's opening up some other possessions for other guys. Right? There's not just a clear guy to go help off of if one of those other guys has the ball, and so that's why they're getting one-on-one possession sometimes. And PJ was able to really take advantage of the Thunder doing that.
Yeah. And you started to talk about him playing with Luka and stuff a lot. And this was one of the fascinating things with me now that we're 14, 15 games into the season, is his minute distribution compared with Luka compared to Kyrie, that they obviously love him playing with Luka versus Kyrie. Klay with Luka he's played 40 more minutes with Luka than he has with Kyrie. So not just almost a whole game. His minutes with Luka, which obviously is 40 more minutes, is plus 20 net rating. His minutes with Kyrie is plus 2. So they obviously see something in that Klay Luka pairing that, hey, we want to keep these two together as much as possible. Even when I was looking up some duo stuff and duo stats, just some general like net rating, offense, different stuff for just the highest amount of minutes played for the top duos in the league. Not like star players, just, hey, what two players have played the most minutes together? And so I was going through the list and I was getting down through there, and it's not too far until you get to the Mavericks top duo of minutes played together, and that's Luka and Kyrie. I mean, that's Luka and Klay Thompson. Sorry.
Yeah.
So the Mavericks love that combo together more than the combo of Klay and Kyrie. And do you have anything that comes to mind in particular that you're like, hey, I think that's the reason why they do that?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Oh, really?
Think about all the times we've seen Luka in the past drive, run, post up, throw a pass behind his head, through his legs, through someone else's legs, around his back, with an offhand, fake with the offhand, and then throw with the other hand. No look, not even looking at the player, throws it into the corner, and someone gets the ball, takes the shot, and misses.
Josh Green.
I'm not naming names here.
No, Grant Williams.
Think about all the times we've seen players do that, and you just don't want that anymore. You want a good shooter next to Luka. You want the space next to Luka, but you also want the guy that can actually convert on some of those attempts and some of those incredible passes that Luka. And to me, I don't even think those two guys have gotten their full chemistry yet. And I think that we've seen Steph and Klay for years. I mean, have you seen there's this clip going around TikTok of Steph doing the behind the back pass to his right, and Klay would always go to it. Klay would always go to his right, and he'd be right there. And as soon as Steph would get double teamed, Steph would go behind the back on a bounce pass, and Klay would be right there to get it and to shoot it. But he bounced past it, and no one was there. And Steph just like looks up in the air and then puts his head down and just walks down the other end of the court because it was a turnover. And people like will edit it with like this sad music of like, saying goodbye and stuff like that. And I think Luka and Klay will get there at some point. Luka's just too good of a passer, too good of a playmaker to not get there. And so I'm looking forward to those two guys trying to figure that out. Their offense is good already with them, but they get to that elite status that we talked about on the show today by those two guys getting to that level, hitting some more threes. Both those guys hitting some more threes and all that. Coming up, let's talk about Klay and how he's played so far. Let's talk about his offense. Let's talk about his defense. What do we want to see more out of Klay? Let's talk about all that and more coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code Locked On NBA to see what is available for you. They got all kinds of stuff with Game Time. There's all kinds of different sporting events, but you also have comedy, concerts, theater. Oh, the Queen of Christmas herself.
Who?
Thursday in American Airlines. $50. We should go to this. Mariah Carey.
That's more than the Cowboys tickets.
It is more than the Cowboys, but it's less than like a lot of concerts. Justin Timberlake, they let him out. He's $73. Oh, Friday at American Airlines, Casey Musgraves. There's some good concerts coming up here. Not a Casey Musgraves fan?
I mean,
okay, here's something more your speed. What about Rascal Flatts?
God bless. No.
Isn't life a highway for you? Isn't that? All right, here you go.
That highway is not leading to that concert.
The Nutcracker, the ballet. How about
that? Sure. Cool date night.
You can see all those things at Game Time. Use the all-in pricing, toggle that feature on, and you can get you'll see exactly what you're going to pay up front at the very beginning, so you can see that. Seat views, all that kind of stuff. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA. Download Game Time today. Isaac, what time is it?
Game Time.
Tis. Also brought to you by our friends over at Chime. Yes, the Dallas Mavericks love Chime, and so do we now.
The jersey sponsor, guys.
That's right. It's written on the Mavs jersey, and now it's written on our show, Chime. Chime.com/LockedOnNBA. It helps you make and progress with fee-free overdraft up to $200. I mean, we've all had that moment where you overdraft your account, and all of a sudden you got to pay money for not having enough money. And you
buying something at the hangar.
Just digging it. Yeah, let's do a full synergy. Mavs tickets, the hangar, the food, all that. It adds up. Maybe you overdraft. But if you have Chime, you won't get that overdraft fee. They also will spot you on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. No monthly fees or maintenance fees. Gotta love that. And Isaac, over 50,000 fee-free ATMs.
Oh, that's what's getting me right there.
That's the business. You can go and make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes. We should time that. We should time that and go and start an account and like actually time it and see how long it takes us.
It takes Tim Cato 2 minutes to open it.
Chime.com/LockedOnNBA. That's Chime.com/LockedOnNBA. Chime feels like progress.
Shut it down! Oh, let's go home!
All right, Isaac, let's keep going on some more things. We've got one more thing for you. We're talking about stats with Klay Thompson. We've been talking about the offense. It's been good with Klay Thompson. Luka and Klay have basically been tied at the hip, and that's been good so far. For Klay Thompson, though, he's averaging about 14 points a game, just under 30 minutes, 28.7. He's shooting 37% from three on 8.5 per game, shooting 100% from the free throw line. Gotta love that. But he's taking less than one a game, giving you 1.7 assists, 3 rebounds. What stands out to you from Klay Thompson is something you're like, all right, we'd want a little bit more, or I'm a little bit disappointed by something there?
Oh gosh, I thought you were gonna go. Like,
what stands out to you? Go anything. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was gonna say something that has, now that we, there's one thing to like know a player and like, hey, I know about this player, and another thing to like watch every single game, every minute that he's on the floor. Now that he's on the team that you cover. And so watching Klay now, I think one thing that has stood out to me is just how good of a passer he is. And there's some decision-making things I think he needs to still work on. And I think that's just like gelling with the team. Some of the things he goes for, I'm like, I don't know what that decision was, but some of his passing, like running some of the pick and roll stuff. I think when we first got him in the offseason, looking at some of his numbers on Synergy, that was one of the things that stood out to me. I'm like, oh, he actually has some pretty good numbers, like running the pick and roll. But even some of his passes in transition, cutting to the basket, and just like some of these like quick passes that I'm like, that was a really dang good pass by Klay. And so he's not just we've talked about the evolution of the wing player for Dallas. He's not just the 3-and-D guy that just stands in the corner and hits threes. He can put the ball on the floor, run the pick and roll, knows like wherever, like that's the thing that separates him from like a Reggie Bullock that, you have a few years ago.
He already has had some good passes to both bigs, Lively and Gafford. And I think that's something that he'll develop a little bit more, and we'll see a little bit more from him. And I think the more that the Mavs play Luka, Kyrie, and I think especially Lively with those guys, we see that, their best five that we talked about on the show today, the more we'll see Klay and Lively being able to do some actions on one side of the court while Luka and Kyrie are taking a bunch of attention on the other end. So it also, as soon as Luka gets double teamed again, right? Like that's kind of what we're waiting on to break down for all this other stuff. Because right now Luka's not getting double teamed as much as he was last season. As soon as Luka gets double teamed, Klay will be able to feast with, throwing it out to Lively, connecting there, getting his own shot and things like that.
Luka hasn't been good enough to make teams pay. So
yeah,
that's what a lot of these teams are going after him this year, going after him in the sense of like, hey, we're kind of okay with you being on an island with just one defender. And until Luka starts playing really effective basketball and just like torching everyone consistently, and they're not going to bring the double, they're just going to kind of live with it.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking at right now. That's what we're dealing with right now. And so, with Klay, I think he's averaging 14 points a game. That's 4 off of what he averaged last season. He's taken 2 less shots than last year. He's taken half a 3 less, so that's not too far off. 1 less free throw. He has not gotten to the free throw line very much, and it's kind of funny to see the 2 best free throw shooters on the Mavs, Kyrie and Klay, like not get free throws and not go to the line very much. We talked about that in the show today too. He also is not shooting well from 2. I think he's getting some good shots there, and
I think he forces a little bit.
He does
in the like running one leggers like type of thing. Like I think some of those are forced, but I mean, you're just like picking at things.
I do like the post up turnaround fade, like the Kobe type shot that he gets in that, especially when he gets one-on-one coverage with a smaller player. I like that shot from him. And those are the shots you want more, and not the like coming around a screen and running through the lane and not taking a 3, but taking a falling away to the right or to the left 2-point shot. Those are the ones that you don't really like.
Because teams that's what they're gonna try to do with their smaller players. You play against a team that has a smaller point guard, they're not gonna be on Luka because Luka. I mean, come on, he's 6'8". A lot of times they're probably it's a choice between Kyrie and Klay, and if an opposing team decides to say like, hey, let's just say Minnesota, we want Jaden McDaniels or we want Anthony Edwards on Kyrie, then where's Mike Conley fit? You know where Mike Conley's going to guard? He's not going to guard PJ. He's going to guard Klay, because most teams are going to be like, oh, Klay's just going to be on the outside, smaller player, just defend that outside shot. That's where Klay can take advantage of. He's probably going to get the smaller defender most nights, and he can take advantage on the post.
Something that stands out to me is Klay Thompson's on-off numbers on defense. The Mavs are 8 points per 100 possessions better when he's not on the court. And so that's something that stood out to me, but his defense individually, so that's the number. But when I watch him and I see his defense has not stood out to me as bad, like at all.
No, I don't think that's one of the biggest issues of the Mavs right now.
Kyrie's number also, by the way, is 9. So I think it's the bench lineups, and then you're trying to figure out what's going on with some of those. But also Klay and Kyrie played in that OKC game where their defense was pretty bad and Luka didn't. So that one stands out.
That hurts those numbers. Yeah.
A good number for the Mavs. The defense is 15 points per 100 possessions better on defense when Lively plays. That's insane.
I love that guy.
That one is great. It's 8 points per 100 possessions better when Hardy plays. So I'm not taking this number as like the individual defense. It's more about the lineups that those guys play with. You just want to take that number, but
Lively's got to work on these fouls though. I think Lively's fouls are going to make me pull my hair out this year.
It's probably one of the reasons why Kid didn't start him.
I mean, man, I think that's kind of a lame excuse not to start somebody.
Well, it's not. I'm not saying
play your best player, and then if he gets in foul trouble, bring Gafford in. Like,
I'm not saying he's punishing him, but like to save him from himself a little bit early on, from early in the game jitters and stuff like that.
I mean, yeah,
feeling out how the refs are calling the game and all that.
Yeah, I mean, you can try to figure out why Jason Kidd does things.
You're done with that?
You gotta ask them. I'm just the coach.
Yeah, there you go.
You're done trying to figure it out? Okay, that's fine. There you go. That's one more thing. Tell us what you think about Klay Thompson in the YouTube comment section. And more, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. We'll be back with some more tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. One more thing.
Peace out.